Welcome back to your live continuing coverage of New York Comic Con 2015 on BeTerrific. You are the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. We're here in New York City at the Jacob K. Javits Center, and oh my God, I'm so excited about these next guests. You guys are going to love this. Of course, I've got the great, terrific, beautiful, talented Andrea Fasano sitting next to me.
Oh, that's me.
That's her, yeah. And I've got the great, very talented actor, Chad L. Coleman. You know him, of course, from The Wire and Walking Dead.
Yeah.
You are Dennis Cuddy, Wise on The Wire, and of course you're Tyrese on The Walking Dead. And
Indeed.
I can't wait to talk about your story because it's so fascinating to me. Because we're BeTerrific, and we tell positive stories, we tell great stories, and your story is both positive, inspiring, and also unbelievable.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to also thank you for your service.
Yes.
That means more to me than anything. I got to tell you that it's because of people like you, the men and women who defend our freedom, that I get to put my head on a pillow every night and not worry about anything, and that my son gets to do the same, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Wow.
And of course we have Morgan Rosenblum with us, and you know Morgan from last year. He is the creator of Treadwater. It's an amazing comic book series that goes into digital. It does everything, and this was a bestseller on Simon as well already. He's a first-time writer out of the gate.
Diamond.
Yeah.
Diamond.
Diamond.
What?
Diamond.
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 That's
Diamond
right.
Comics. is
Diamond
what
Comics. This guy is unbelievable, though. He's a mad scientist at comic book writing. He's a genius. And the Terrifics remember him from last year, and we're like, the viewership is so crazy this year. It's over the top. We're going to introduce new people to him. Chad, I wanted to talk about your story because you really had a really tough upbringing.
Yeah, man.
You know, foster homes.
That's right. Well, I mean, the fortunate part about it was one foster home, but it was 5 of us.
Wow.
And, you know, unfortunately, we were abandoned by our parents and left alone in the projects. And my brother tried to cook for us and set the place on fire. And when the authorities came in, they found these 5 kids, 7, 6, 4, 3, and me, 11 months. But fortunately, our foster parents, George and Lottie Bird, they took all 5 of us, which is pretty much unheard of. And, you know, I owe them my life.
Did they basically become your parents? Because foster parents usually means that they have you for a year or 2 or whatever. They get you ready to go into the system, and then they find another home for you or somebody to adopt you, and then you almost definitely would then be adopted out separately.
Right. Now, they had others come in that it's like that. We had a little girl come in, and she only stayed for a year, and basically put her back together, and a family wanted her, but I stayed with them for 14 years.
Have you ever seen your parents ever again, your birth parents?
Yeah, I did. No, I had an opportunity. We had an opportunity to know my father, and later in life to know my mother, and you know, we mended some fences, especially with my mother.
That's a really hard thing, huh?
It is.
Yeah, but she was so broken up about it, you know, herself. It wasn't hard to forgive her.
But did you say why? I mean, that would have been the only question I would have had was why.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking probably along the lines of substance abuse.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but I'm here.
But I mean, that's the thing,
Okay.
is your story is so positive because then you become a track star. And you start running track and you're doing amazing, and then you have a leg injury and you can't do track, but I think you find your real love through that because you get involved in the drama club.
That's right, yeah. My world really, really opened up when, you know, track was something that gave me confidence, but the acting world just opened up my life, you know. I knew by the time I was a sophomore in high school is what I wanted to do, so.
Would you would have had a hard time, I imagine, as an athlete, also being in drama. Not only because back then it was kind of the athlete crowd kind of shunned being more creative and stuff, but also because the time commitment. It is really hard. Like I found for myself, I had done drama, I would have liked it, but you know, how would you find more time to be in a play?
Yeah, that's true.
So it kind of was a gift that you got injured.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm doing what I believe I was put on this planet to do. So.
Did you dream from a very young age of performing? Would you watch stuff on TV, or would you see a performance and go, "That's really what I want to do"?
I was involved in theater mostly, so it was just the experience of being at play rehearsal and breaking down the play and things like that. I dreamed of Broadway
Live.
initially, you know, and then later on, the television and film stuff came.
I imagine you had a lot of insecurities because of what you went through, and maybe not as many as your siblings, because you only knew this. You were 11 months old.
Right.
But did the theater really help you get over those insecurities? You said you gained a lot of confidence from it.
Yeah, I think so. Well, you know, the energy filled with troubled artists, you know. So, I mean, I did have a lot to draw from. And, you know, as far as technique is concerned, you know, there was a specific situation where I was working on this play called The Raisin in the Sun. And my director was like, son, you're doing a really good job of saying that, but you got to feel it in here. And he drove his finger, you know, in my gut. And he's like, I don't care what you do, you got to go off stage, you got to think about something and come back and do this scene. And I went off stage, I was thinking about my foster parents. So by that time they had left. And I came back on stage and did the scene and had an out-of-body experience.
Wow.
So that's just one example of how you know, use your past for good.
Well, can I ask what it was that drew you once you started getting into drama and live theater? That you knew, you felt it?
Expression, just being able to express myself.
Yeah.
And doing something that I was validated by others. They're like, you're really good, you know? So, and I love language. I always loved reading, so it kind of started from there. Cool. But it was something I was compelled to, I was drawn to it more from the standpoint I used to watch plays in school and say, that's not real. I don't believe that. So I always wanted it to be real, you know?
Yeah.
So then you go from, you're starting to get into acting and drama and stuff, you go to college, and you drop out of college to join the United States Army.
I did,
and thank you again. And so the Terrifics are watching, and Paul Dixon says he's a big fan. He's in the UK, and he can't believe that you're like, I'm going to be, you know, an actor, and you go into the Army, because that's the furthest thing from acting. How from the Army to acting? So he was like, how do you? He wrote it.
Here's how it works. I initially auditioned for NYU. I got accepted into NYU theater, the theater program.
It's an amazing
School
program.
Of the Arts, right? And unfortunately, Ronald Reagan took a program off the books that would have gave me a free ride to NYU to School of the Arts.
Wow.
So my mind was already in New York. So I went to school for a year at Virginia Commonwealth University in my hometown, but I was like, I gotta get to New York. So I said, why don't I go in the military, get a vocation I can use in New York, you know, while I'm pursuing my career. So I was involved in radio and television in the military.
Wow.
I was a video cameraman.
I was going to say
radio.
Very smart.
Yeah.
So that was your path. That was the way to get here.
The interesting thing is, I think the people like you who are talented always find a way, and if you're meant to do this. So it was gonna happen. It had to happen through a different path.
Right.
But you probably also appreciate it more. You're probably actually better as an actor because of it. Being a cameraman must have been humbling, also really frustrating, because you really wanted to be in front of the camera and you're shooting all this great footage.
Well, I used to perform for my sergeants.
That's fun.
They were like, "You're really good, Coleman." Do that monologue again.
Does that frustrate you though? Yeah, you're really good. You should be.
I knew where I was going.
Yeah.
So,
what kind of cameras did you use? Do you remember?
Oh, Panasonic, Recams. You know, the big boys back then. Yeah. We hadn't got into beta yet, so it was
you were using 3/4 inch tape?
3/4 inch tape.
I started on that.
Well, half inch. No, we went to half inch.
Okay.
At the time, but we had 3/4 around, but we did move into.
I started with a one-man band journalist with a 3/4 Ikegami 340, a 3/4.
Wow, yeah.
And the snorkel cable to the deck. You had to carry the Sony deck.
That was the deal, brother.
And the big Frezzy battery.
Yeah, brother, you speak my language.
God.
Yes.
Oh my God.
And then we went into the Recam.
Yeah.
The smaller version. Yeah. So that's what it was, man. But it was exciting. It was fun too. You know, it was close enough at the time. You know, for being in the military, for me, it was like, wow, I didn't even know they had cool jobs like this. I got to travel a lot. Everybody around me, you know, when you're a photographer or a video camera, you're creative too.
Absolutely.
So,
Right, it's another outlet, but
That's
in the
right.
same family.
Exactly. So it was good.
And did you take your, I'm sorry,
No, go.
those experiences, I can imagine just you brought them more into your other work
I think so.
in the
I
future.
I think so. I mean, I think I was always a student of people, so I was
Right.
being exposed to all different kinds of people, and I was able to use that in my work.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
definitely.
How do you go from all of that into like, so now you're in the military and all that stuff? How do you go get your first major break?
Well, I mean, I came out of the military. My high school drama teacher at that point was in New York, so he kind of.
And you were in high school in Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, and he left Richmond. By the time I was in the military, he left Richmond and moved to New York to pursue his career.
How funny.
So I had somebody to kind of show
Yeah.
me the ropes, you know, get your picture and resume. This is the publication you need to pick up to try to get non-union work. And so, you know, the first thing I did, I was a stand-in on the Cosby Show.
Oh my gosh.
So,
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
So I got an opportunity to, you know, to see the behind the scenes of how a sitcom works, and that was some great on-the-job training.
Unbelievable.
I always thought Malcolm Jamal Warner was the coolest. Was he?
He
just
is a really cool
He
guy.
is, yeah.
Yes, he's very cool individual.
Very cool.
Sure.
Well, how did you get involved with Treadwater? You have this amazing character coming up in a future season, and basically they're written as seasons, and then they're books, and they're transformed into. I'm going to let Morgan explain more of this because
Yeah.
it gets really heady and it's amazing. It just keeps going. There's so many layers. It's like pulling back the onion.
Absolutely.
But, then it gets transformed into digital and TV and all this stuff. Everything's a series of video game. It's mind-numbing, and it's all amazing and exciting.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with Morgan and Treadwater?
Well, I went to have dinner. Well, I wasn't on a blind date. I was on a date. His brother Owen was on a blind date, and I came to the Aqua Grill, and he saw me, and he was like, you know, he's just felt like this is it. This is my moment, you know. They really appreciate my work on The Walking Dead, and so he said, "Can I please send you something?" You know, and it was like.
But doesn't everybody say that to
That's
you?
what I said. That's what I asked
No,
him.
it was different because it wasn't in passing. We were at the restaurant. He was very earnest and sincere.
He wasn't just asking you
and
for a
he was,
photo.
Right.
He wasn't just like, "Hey, I'm a
no.
fan."
And he was saying things to make sure to
That you
not
knew
fall
he was-
into that
right.
trap.
You got a good brother, and he did a good sales pitch.
Very nice.
He did.
That's
He
great.
did.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's actually like a co-creator as well, you know, so he's very involved in the series. He produced out a lot of the video content that we're doing and whatnot, so, you know, he's emotionally invested. He wasn't doing me a favor.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So then they send it to you, and you're like, I got to get
I'm like,
involved.
wow, yeah. You know, first of all, the graphics, you know, the illustration, it was so professionally done.
I'm going to
know?
show some of it
Yeah.
as we're talking.
Exactly.
Look at
so
this.
these guys, I mean, they
this
were
is just
just way
beautiful.
ahead of the
And we gotta
game
show your character.
to be an independent, you know.
Right.
They were. I could see the talent and the artistry, so it was very compelling.
So Morgan, tell us, we left off last year, it was like, I think you had knocked out 5 seasons or something. It was like something incredible.
Yeah, well, when you say seasons, I mean, just to give some like context.
Yeah.
The whole graphic novel was spawned because I wanted to write a TV series, you know. So essentially what I did is I kind of just wrote like a pilot or an episode 1, and I kind of knew that without any like formal writing, training or whatnot, that I probably wasn't going to get picked up or an agent would get a show. So I sort of said, you know, let's convert this to a graphic novel so that at least I have something to show my kids or grandkids
Right.
someday. And then as I started to like, you know, produce an actual product and whatnot, and like Chad said, it was very professional, very well executed. Other people started to take notice of that and want to get involved in this, you know, like my brother and then my partner and now co-writer, co-creator, Nat Prinzi, decided to like, hey, let's bring this into other mediums because they're in like video and film production, so we started casting actors. And that wasn't to film the show ourselves, that would never work on the level we were trying to do, but it was, you know, that was then used to create an interactive experience, which if you go to like our website from a computer, it's a super interactive experience where you, the user, get a chance to play a part of the story, sort of.
It's unbelievable. I mean, Andrea, I was so blown away last year. I just met Morgan here, and I was so blown away because I knew one of the actresses in the series.
Oh, wow.
And she came on, and then she's like, "You got to talk to Morgan," and it was just. my mind was blown. I came over to the booth, he showed me everything, and they were so put together. He's saying they're an independent, he didn't know what he was doing, but he's very much like me. He just figured it out.
He just went
said,
for it.
yeah, he had an idea, and he said, go. I mean, look at this. They meet in a restaurant, and then he comes up with this character.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at this, Digital Phil said that's the coolest character he's ever seen. He's
There
watching
you
in the
go.
Slack chat.
Yeah.
I'm not ignoring you guys. Usually have a computer.
No,
I'm
no,
not on my.
yeah.
I'm talking to the viewers. He's one of the terrifics.
It's badass, man.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And it was so funny. They didn't know that my character on The Walking Dead was gonna lose a limb.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
That's
like
so
it's,
weird.
it's another
again.
one of those things that said
It's
this
just
is
right
right.
place, right time.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you? I have two questions. Do you believe in that? Because we're talking a lot about your career and how you got to where you were gonna be. I mean, I live in LA, so I'm around a lot of actors, a lot of people in the industry that they get discouraged, and I feel like the similar stories from people who have made it, who have been successful, feel like it's where luck, someone said this yesterday, is opportunity meets preparation.
Right,
and
totally.
so do you believe that? Do you really feel like you
course.
have that in your heart, you know where you should be, you just keep trying no matter what your path is?
Listen, it's a gift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, no one can really explain. I tell people, no one can really explain why that thing is inside you to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the gift of it. It's
Right.
just there. Whereas the person next to you has no desire whatsoever or would never do it. There's a calling with the art, I think. And so when you have that, as long as you continue to answer that, you know, that drive,
some form.
it's there.
Right.
You know, yeah, it pulls you.
Right.
It drives you, and then you reach a certain point where, you know, you become successful in the business, and then it becomes more about business,
Right,
the
right.
business aspect of it. But the calling is, you can't make that up. You know, that's why people think
You
we're
just
nuts.
keep pursuing
it's just
it, what
in
you
there,
can,
right?
right.
It's just in there
To
you
fulfill
know?
it.
Yeah.
And then my second question is, can you guys, for the people that don't know, explain a little bit about Treadwater and about the character that you created for him and how that all
Sure.
got started?
I'll give you the sort of the log line or context of what the story's about.
Yeah.
Okay, so 15 years from now, in the wake of a global economic meltdown that spawned from the euro crashing, it's meant to be very plausible and realistic.
Okay.
Chaos erupts and the world's safety is jeopardized by a whole new wave of crime and terror, opportunists, dictators emerging, and essentially a privately funded, non-government affiliated, totally privately financed, we don't even know where they're from, team of special operatives is assembled, sort of like a global group of Batmen almost.
Okay.
Are assembled, who call themselves the Candlelight Program, but are later sort of nicknamed by the press Treadwater for a pretty cool reason.
Okay.
And they're sort of the sole force standing between hope and anarchy. But what the story's really about, and I think, I don't want to speak for you, but is the characters, and how every single character has a very unique and dark backstory. When I was writing this, I was heavily influenced by J.J. Abrams' Lost. And I wanted to,
I love
yeah,
Lost.
me too. First 3 seasons.
Big fan of, right. Let's not talk about the ending, but big fan.
But anyway, what I loved about it was that every single character, much like The Walking Dead and even Game of Thrones, are so unique, and every single one of them could almost have their spin-off, and almost do have a spin-off in the flashbacks. So when creating Treadwater, every character sort of has their flashback origin story that's integrated into the graphic novel series. So you asked me earlier, you know, I wrote 5 seasons. I wrote a pilot, and then when I linked up with my new co-writer, Nat Prinzi, we had planned out like 5 full seasons worth of TV, because the goal ultimately, as you can see in the live action, is to bring this to TV. You know, and that's the end goal. And now that we have this whole transmedia universe, where now we have a video game demo or whatnot, that actually even at our booth right now, we're giving away a Xbox One or a PS4 for whoever gets in first place in the time trial, which is kind of cool.
Wow.
So come on by and play that game.
Yeah, they got
He would.
to. What's the booth number?
844.
Or Xbox One, yeah.
844.
Booth
Now,
844, go play.
I could imagine.
Yeah.
I could imagine that, you know, when you're starting out as an actor and when you want to be an actor and then you go through the army and all that stuff, this might have been, this might have been like a dream job, because it's kind of like a Mr. T role. It's kind of a tough guy role, and then you go into the army, right? And it seems like, and you're a superhero, right? I mean, you're in a comic. So it must, to me, this must be like a dream job acting. Is this something that when you were a kid you thought, wow, I mean, because like, if I could be in a movie, that'd be cool. If I could be in a comic book, if I could be like Batman, that would be amazing.
Well, I just wanted to be the black G.I. Joe. So
well done.
Dropped pretty good.
Well, that did work out pretty good.
I know, but you know, it did.
You did it in real life, and
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, that's amazing.
This is amazing. It really is. I love that you're giving away the PS4. You had an interesting situation on the subway recently.
Yeah.
This is BeTerrific. I know that there's TMZ, all that stuff out there, and it's unfortunate. The people don't get the real story. They get a glimpse, right? And a glimpse of what the story is, and then everybody online goes and they say what they want to say. We're BeTerrific. We're about being positive and all that stuff. And I believe that there is a racism issue in this country, and it's more pronounced than ever before. But what I want to say to you is, and we don't really get political, if you would like to explain what happened, I don't think anybody's ever really given you the opportunity. You don't have to. There's no obligation here. But if you would like that opportunity, I would.
No, I had the opportunity.
You did.
If you go and just Google Tamron Hall.
Okay.
And you'll be able to see.
Okay.
What.
So, and by the way, I stay away from the subways. And if I went on the subway. Yeah. I mean, if I was on the subway for 3 minutes, there are lots of things I would rant about. And it would start with the subway. And I get so aggravated when you go on the. I get nuts. I hate the subway. All these people. It's congested. It's dirty. It's filthy. It's hot.
Right.
Disgusting.
Anyway. All right. So I'm glad.
We're good.
Yeah. Good. Excellent. I just wanted to give you that opportunity. You always have that here. Please, you're both always welcome on BeTerrific. Yeah. We do a daily live show out of our studio in Secaucus. We also are at live events and stuff. You're both always welcome. What is your dream acting job? Is there something when you were a little kid that you were sitting there with your foster parents and said, I'm going to be an actor and this is what I want to do?
No, because I don't know. I take each experience as it comes.
Do you ever pinch yourself?
A dream acting job. I'd love to play Iago from Othello. On screen.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
See, that's cool. So it's like it's an idea of something you'd love to do, but it doesn't mean that you haven't made it if you didn't ever got to play that one.
Of course,
it's just a little gift or a little bonus,
absolutely.
Right?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Your foster parents are amazing. I know people who foster kids, and your foster parents were amazing. You should give them a shout out again, but people really need to look at fostering kids, especially people who can't have children and wind up going adoption route or something else. There are a lot of kids who need help, guidance, so you can do a big brother, big sister kind of program, and you can also foster them, and it's really, really important, and it turned out great for you, and we should, kind of promote that.
Hey man, listen, I couldn't say it better myself. That's it. If you heard that, that's what it is. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Get involved.
Thank you for coming on BeTerrific. I really appreciate it. And Morgan, how do people find out about Treadwater? It's treadwater.com without the vowels.
No, treadwater.tv.
Treadwater.tv without the vowels?
No, with the vowels.
Treadwater.tv.
Just Treadwater, one word. TREADWATER.
And where do they get it all? Because do they go to the comic book store? Can they order?
Go to your local comic book
or
store.
Go online.
Yeah, you can get it on Amazon. There's a different version on Amazon that's sort of like, it's just a different version. It's the same graphic novel, but the one at comic book stores has 40 extra bonus pages.
Oh, wow.
I think a lot of them are sold out right now, so you might have to place an order.
Yeah.
Well,
do you guys want to talk about each one of these scenes here, or the kind of?
Yeah, if you guys want to hear about it.
We love this.
Yeah,
what they didn't see is when you said it's sold out, I threw it right in my jacket.
So, we have them at the convention, so come by our booth for anyone that's at Comic-Con.
844.
Booth 844, yeah. And we're giving away free posters with any
graphic novel.
Cool.
Yep. So anyway, Chad's character, Mr. Osi, is actually is in book 2, which is in the works right now.
Okay.
But we hint at him in book 1 at the end, and the bonus pages that you're going to get at comic book stores. But so what's really neat about the story though is that imagine like Bruce Wayne and Lucius Fox, Morgan Freeman, the genius engineer, are combined, a hybrid.
Right.
Except that our character's name is Alan Downs, and he never was Batman. But so when this chaos is erupting and whatnot, worldwide organizations, governments, whatever it may be, they have their hands tied, because if they try to go in and intervene, they run the risk of inciting a war, because it's that tense. So Alan, who has all the resources, all the money, the wherewithal, he can build almost any tech he can think of, he decides to sort of privately finance this thing completely off the grid and embezzles money from his own company to do so. And rather than hiring mercenaries, what he does is he goes and starts profiling individuals that each sort of have a very unique skill set that would translate well to his operative, ex-hacker, you know, ex-Brooklyn detective, ex-special forces captain, but each one of them has like a really, really dark and unique backstory, much like Lost. And so, for example, Lucky Joe Merson, who's like, I guess, like the leader of the team, he, his daughter's involved in like a tragic car crash, and Alan hears about this ex-American war hero whose daughter's on life support, and Joe's running out of time to essentially keep her alive. To essentially,
it gets crazy here.
We're that excited about Treadwater.
Great, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, long story short is that Chad's character actually plays a bad guy. He's not in Treadwater. He's what we call like an independent, meaning that he's a threat to world peace. But he's a businessman, he's an arms dealer, a high-end arms dealer, sells intel and weapons to the highest bidder. He lives out of a tricked-out 747 Boeing jet. That's his office and his home.
Pretty cool, man.
And
So
what's cool, the real cool thing, like the superhero aspect of him, as Chad was saying earlier about the missing arm, he has like he has an amputated arm, and in place of it is like a metal prosthetic hand, right? And what he does is he always has this big-ass briefcase with him. And, you know, we never really get to see what's in the briefcase, but when shit hits the fan, pardon my French.
You're allowed to, it's good.
Okay, he opens the briefcase, and it's a 3D weapons modeling system.
Oh, wow.
So he places his hand in the briefcase, can essentially program any single weapon he chooses, and it takes off the arm, and then builds whatever weapon he has.
You have an imagination,
Yeah,
brother.
so-
I told you he was an evil.
good.
He's a
You
mad
are
scientist.
This is another cool
He's a
part to it.
genius.
So one on top, even cooler than that.
And you're
is-
so excited about
I
it.
love
so
this
it's
stuff,
getting me
you know,
excited
like,
about
cool,
it.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
like I
you
want
gotta
to see
be-
a movie now.
Yeah, right. Show, TV series.
Well, what,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm like picturing,
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, all-
it will be a
I'm
movie.
thinking big for you.
It will be a movie.
Yeah.
right?
Well,
Maybe.
so the reason I keep saying
Exactly.
TV though is because your canvas is way bigger.
Yeah, you can keep
right?
going
So I
with
can,
the story.
you know, this is not about one character and a bunch of.
It's the best.
The
He's
show.
he's so far down the field.
Yeah.
He has to be like, it has to be TV because we can't just do one movie.
Yeah.
Right.
It can't be
That's
just 2
amazing.
hours. It can't be limited to 2
2
hours.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Same amount of money he used over the course of
Very true,
13
very
episodes
true.
or whatnot. But anyway, the last piece of this that I think is pretty neat is he has a scanner in the center of his hand. So let's just say that like he's got another guy has a cooler weapon that he doesn't have yet. He'll shoot him, scan the weapon, it reverse engineers the schematics, sends it to the briefcase. So now he's got that weapon in his briefcase
Oh
whenever
my
he wants
gosh.
it.
Wow.
Pretty cool, right?
This is
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Indeed.
This is unbelievable. Unbelievable. This is what I'm saying. Like, you blew my mind
Yeah,
last year.
totally.
You were like,
That's why I wanted you to talk about it.
you were like one of the best interviews, and you had the most exciting thing we saw at Comic-Con last year,
thanks.
for sure. Yeah.
And these are beautiful.
Thanks.
I mean, on top of the story being
Hey.
amazing, these are really
Might wanna
gorgeous
pick up the
prints.
Illustrator.
What?
Thank you.
Yeah, we have several illustrators.
Yeah, you might wanna-
You know, like, yeah, we really wanted to make sure that, like, the style is very, like, similar, anatomically correct, very dark,
Right.
you know, gritty feeling. But yeah, we like to use different artists. This is an origin series that we're working on the side. Like I said, everyone has their own unique backstory. So here are all the 7 operatives, and it gives you a little piece of each of their backstories. Lucky Joe with his daughter, right, that's in the coma. You have, like, Dom, the ex-Brooklyn detective, Kiyoshi, the ex-Yakuza hitman. I mean, I don't want to get into all the characters right now. Read the graphic novel.
And then
You know,
come
after
to
you
the
let
booth and
Yeah,
talk
come to the
about
booth, play the video game.
Treadwater.tv.
Yeah.
We do one thing for me before we leave. We got to take a break, but just say hi to the Terrifics, both of you guys.
Hell yeah. Hi, Terrifics. You
Hey,
guys rock.
Terrifics, what's up?
Yeah, you guys are the best. You're awesome. Thank you so much for coming on. Again, you're welcome anytime on Be Terrific. You guys are unbelievable. We should have you to the studio in Secaucus, New Jersey. Enjoy the rest of Comic-Con. Everybody's got to go to Treadwater.tv, and you got to go to booth 844. You
it.
got to get this stuff signed. You got to get the graphic novel, and you got to have your chance to win an Xbox One or PS4. I'm Michael Artis. We'll be back with a whole lot more live from New York Comic-Con 2015. Right after. Yeah, baby.
Yeah.